everyone. It's been a while, and I am driving. As you can see, I'm on my way to my chiropractic appointment. I've been meaning to, it's been a while, but we're already into the new year, and I've been meaning to make this video, but it's been hard at times to get like a quiet time to do it. Turn off this heat. It's been hard to find quiet time to do it. So, as you can see by the title, my daughter was diagnosed with glaucoma in November, and if you've watched my videos before, you know that I have glaucoma as well, and I was diagnosed with glaucoma maybe 17 years ago. So, but my daughter at the time was 9 turning 10. She's 10 now. And this was November of, no, it wasn't November. This was October, I believe. Or maybe the beginning of November. Sorry for the shaky cam. But of last year, we usually take our break for homeschool in October and November, and I was kind of getting all of their appointments in, and she was pretty much the last one, I believe, to go get her eyes examined from the optometrist. And I decided to take them to the optometrist because I used to be an optometrist assistant, and they had never had their eyes professionally checked before. She reads a lot. It was time, 7 years old, 11 years old, 10 years old. It was time to get their eyes checked. Even though they didn't necessarily have any complaints. They did not have any complaints in regards to sight. So anyways, the doctor that we went to, which was a really good doctor, he knew that I was an optometrist assistant. He knew my history. He already saw me prior to the children being seen, and it was something that he knew, like, I'd understand pretty much what was kind of going on. But needless to say, he's checking her out, and things are going semi-normal, and he starts to look at her, check her pressure. And the thing with this doctor, if you've been to the optometrist before, usually when you're getting screened for the doctor by the assistant, they do what is called an NCT, and that's a non-contact tonometer, and it gives you that of air in your eye, and that's pretty much checking the pressure in your eye. Now, it is not 100% accurate, but it gives the doctor pretty much an idea of how well your pressure is doing, and it's not it gives them a good gauge. So needless to say, he doesn't do that because he doesn't like it. Fine. So he pretty much checks everyone's pressure during his exam, where they numb your eyes and they use the machine, and it actually comes into contact with your eye. So he does a new kind of situation first, just to show me how it works. And it's a little handheld thing that comes into contact with your eye, but your eyes don't need to be numbed during it, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. But he doesn't like to use it in children because he thinks that it always reads higher in children. He's kind of old school. He keeps it to the basics. But he has the machine nonetheless. He always feels like it reads a little higher in children, so he wanted to do it. And for reference, your pressure is ideally, they look for under 20, the number 20. And I wasn't expecting some ridiculous number when he did that machine, and he said it was like 40 something. And the red flags in my mind kind of went up from there. I'll back up just a little bit. With glaucoma, your eye pressure is one of the signs. If your pressure is high in certain glaucoma, I'm not a doctor. If you really want to look into glaucoma, because there are different kinds of glaucoma and all of that sort of stuff, but the particular glaucoma that I have, that my daughter has, the 3 things that they look out for, the 3 pieces of the puzzle, if you want to say that, are increased pressure, peripheral vision loss, and your optic nerve cup size. I'll keep it basic like that. So anyways, the pressure was like 40 something, and my signals are kind of going on from there, but I've never seen or experienced this little instrument, but I didn't think it was that off. So he said, yeah, you see, it's it's a high number. Then he goes on to actually check her pressure, and in both eyes. So both eyes will have a number of its own. So he actually goes on to check her pressure, and I realize it's taking him a long time. And this is nothing to newbie doctors, but it's not a new doctor. It's not a doctor that just graduated or is still in training or anything like that. So it's taking him a long time to do something that he does every day, several times a day. So that is another red flag in my mind when it comes to what he's doing. So he checks it, and he checks it again, and he's looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and I kind of give him that nod of, I'm paying attention. I know what's going on. I'm paying attention to you. So then he kind of soberly, whatever, he says, I checked it 3 times. And her pressure was it was 34 in both eyes. And I told you, under 20 is the number. So in my mind, I was thinking, whoa, okay, my pressure has never been 30 anything. So my heart automatically kind of just, it sinks down. My daughter has no idea what's going on. She's just there. And he says, this is a Thursday. So he says she needs to see an ophthalmologist tomorrow. So I'm like, okay. So I asked for a little excuse from the room, and I took like 30 seconds, and I went outside that room, and I wept. Not for worry or anything like that, but it's just, you don't want that for your child. I know how glaucoma has been for me, and the difficulties with it, and just the thought that I was diagnosed when I was 20, 21 or something like that, and she's 9 going on 10, and at the time I was just thinking, I don't want her to do that. I don't want her to have to do that. But as a Christian, as a believer, I need to trust in the Lord. Not to say that crying was a bad thing, but I need to make sure that I'm not ignoring the sovereignty of God in this trial. So all of that happens, and I go back in the room, and I'm like, okay, what do we got? He knows of an ophthalmologist, and we call that office, and it's not a small private practice. So it's not a small private practice. There are several doctors and all that stuff. A lot of doctors, actually. But that particular doctor, turns out that she does not see children. So she's not a pediatric ophthalmologist. Okay, fine. So they said they have a pediatric ophthalmologist and we'll set the appointment up. But he doesn't have an appointment until Monday. Fine. Thursday to Monday, whatever. So we go in to see him on that Monday, and quite frankly, it's when you are experienced at all in something, you are more aware of how things go. I've never assisted an ophthalmologist. I've worked in an ophthalmology office, but I've never assisted an ophthalmologist. But certain things, it may not even take the experience for some stuff, but when you don't like certain things and when you're very comfortable with it. And if any of you have dealt with doctors on a regular basis, which I have from my own personal experience, not necessarily working with them, there's bedside manner, and he was not unkind, but you can tell when a doctor is really trying to just check you off the list of a patient seen today. I always pick it up, and I don't like it. I will take as long as I need to find a doctor who is absolutely interested in finding out what's wrong with me and caring for me or my family, especially my child, before I stick with a doctor who doesn't know how to act right. So anyways, he was fine, but we were a number, we were just another appointment, and I was not content with what his solution was. I think that if a parent came in with a child that didn't know any better, it could have been an easy situation to get sucked into. With children, just giving them drops is not, to fix the pressure, to maintain the pressure, is not always the answer. A lot of the times you want to have surgery to correct the situation. I was very encouraged. There was a viewer from India that commented on one of my glaucoma videos, and she said that her son had just been diagnosed and had surgery and had to go back for surgery and all of that stuff. And it was kind of, at that time, like, it really came in around the time that my daughter got diagnosed, and it was timely to see what she had been through. And this is in India. So needless to say, my old optometry assistant came in, and I was telling my husband that, yeah, we are not gonna stay with him. He did lead us in the direction of the ophthalmologist that we are currently seeing. His plan was to go ahead, prescribe my daughter with drops, take her pressure down, but he said, you're not gonna find an ophthalmologist, a pediatric ophthalmologist in this area that's gonna want to operate on her. And I was just kind of like, well, we just gotta find one then, because that was the better option. So he recommended us to a doctor in upstate North Carolina at Duke University, almost 3 hours away that's what our life is pretty much. It's we're up there ever so often. So we went to see her in November, and she was wonderful. Now, the wait to see her is lengthy. It's lengthy. Not necessarily to have an appointment, but the actual wait there, that physical wait of waiting like 3 hours or something, but it's worth it. So we go, and she says, okay, so we can't just be on this one particular drop. So she adds on another drop for her. I think it was 2 or 3 drops that we were taking morning and night. Fine. She was great in that she was more than willing to allow us to go to our local optometrist who caught the glaucoma to begin with, to measure her pressure to see how it was going, to avoid us having to drive up to see her just for that. So we're grateful for her willingness to do that, because that's something that some doctors would just kind of be like, no, I need to see you, you're my patient. That's that. I'm not trusting any other doctor, but she's fine with us following up with our optometrist. So she sees her in November, and we schedule the surgery for January. So she had her first surgery January. I want to say it was the 18th or something like that of January, but mid-January we go to see, we go up there, and her surgery was the Wednesday, and we were home the Friday, back down here the Friday, and it was an ordeal. I mean, because your child is being put to sleep, the doctor tells us all that goes into the whole decision making because of her type of glaucoma. They are several different options for surgeries, and the reason why they don't do both eyes at a time is because they want to know that the specific technique actually worked before they do the next eye, because it'll be kind of pointless if it didn't work. So, needless to say, I digress. So she does it, she's doing well, and when she goes into surgery, her pressure is at, I think, like an 18 or 19. When we leave Durham, I think the next day, that Thursday after her surgery, her pressure was like a 7. Okay, of course it's not there like that now, but there's this like relief when you know there's a relief off of her eye, that pressure has been lifted at least to some degree to make, so her vision is being maintained. So it's at a 7. The surgery was difficult for not just for pain wise, but after surgery she was on 6 different drops 6 times a day. So your alarm is going on for 2 steroid drops, you have pressure reduction drops, you have all of these things to do. So that was kind of okay. Whew. But at the end of every week something decreased, whether it was a time or an actual drop. So here we are, fast forward to March, and we have gone back to see the doctor in Durham at Duke University, and she is very pleased with how her eye has been healing. She took her off of all of her post-surgery drops, and she's now on one drop for her right eye, and that's just twice a day. So it's like a normal thing. So before the surgery, I asked the doctor, I said, is this something that is the surgery going to allow her to not have to be on drops, period? She said she's only seen it a couple times, but it's not impossible. And I'm all for that. It's not impossible. And I'm grateful that my daughter is the way she is. I'm grateful that the Lord has allowed me to be content. But you know, my desire would be that she doesn't have to be on drops. The doctor said if her pressure can get down to a 12, she'll consider taking, she'll see how she does without the drops. When we went the last time to the ophthalmologist, her pressure was a 14 in that right eye. And she wanted us to follow up with our optometrist 2 weeks. In 2 weeks from when we saw her. And we went, and her pressure was a solid 12. Now, will it stay like that? That's the funny thing with glaucoma. The pressures you can go in the morning and check your pressure, and you can go back in the evening and check your pressure, and it'll be two different things. So you just don't necessarily know what it may be. But I'm encouraged that her eye is definitely healing well. And Lord willing, it continues that way. Now, we are still with the left eye. She increased the amount of drops for her left eye. She added a drop because her pressure in that eye was a 17. Her desire for my daughter is her pressure to be under 15. That's her number, under 15. So we will see how that goes. When we went to the optometrist, her pressure in her left eye was a 14, which is good because that's under 15. Her scheduled surgery for her left eye is in May. It's the first week in May, and we'll see what happens from there. But it's definitely been a full, December, January, February. It's been a full 3 months. But I know this video was extremely long, extremely, jam-packed with stuff. But if you have any children, this is my takeaway. If you have any children that have never been to the eye doctor before, just because they don't complain about their vision, it does not mean that they don't need to go. My daughter has lost a good amount of peripheral vision because of her glaucoma. And I know that it's hard for some people to get to the eye doctor for one reason or another, whether it's money, insurance, or anything like that. But your basic, it's under $100 usually. If it's over $100, then you need to find somewhere else. But Walmart, Kmart, whoever, all of these places have these little eye doctors in them. And optometrists, all of these places have eye doctors. I don't know if I said little eye doctors, or that's not what I meant. But all of these places have optometrists there to check your vision, or they should have optometrists there. And optometrists are eye doctors. They do not treat, for the most part, they're not there for eye surgeries and certain kinds of eye health problems, but they are more than capable in detecting certain things just from the eye exam. They should be looking at the back of your eyes and seeing what it looks like, checking your pressure, and all of those sorts of things. So it's not like you have to go to an ophthalmologist in order to do that. It's not like you need to have health insurance in order to do that. Some optometrists take health insurance, some don't, if you have vision insurance. But needless to say, don't wait for your child to complain about their sight before you take them to the eye doctor. I learned that it is possible for my 9-year-old to have glaucoma. So I will keep you guys posted in our whole situation, and I hope you guys were able to keep up with me as I traveled and informed you of what's happening in our lives. So thanks again. Thank you for all my new subscribers. I see you. I know you're there. I'm encouraged by the fact that I still get subscribers even though I'm not posting often. But stick around. I'll try my best, y'all, to keep posting when I can. And again, anything you need to see, you want to see, let me know, and I will try my best. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.